Let's be real for a second. Have you ever sat down, fully ready to do something important, and somehow ended up scrolling your phone instead? Not because you wanted to, not because you planned to. It just happened. 1 minute turned into 10. 10 turned into an hour. And now the day is basically gone. And the worst part? That feeling afterward. That quiet frustration where you think, what the hell is wrong with me? You start labeling yourself lazy, unfocused, undisciplined, behind everyone else. But here's the truth most people never hear. You are not addicted. Your brain is. And that difference matters more than you think. Because when you blame yourself, you stay stuck. When you understand your brain, you get control back. Let's talk about why this keeps happening. Your brain has one main job. It's not success. It's not happiness. It's not productivity. Your brain's job is survival with minimum effort. That's it. For most of human history, effort meant danger. Comfort meant safety. So your brain learned a simple rule. Avoid pain. Chase quick rewards. Fast forward to today. There is no danger, no hunger, no real threat. But your brain is still running ancient software in a modern world. A world full of instant comfort. Your phone, food delivery, streaming, endless content. Your brain didn't evolve for this, so it adapts the only way it knows how, by getting hooked. Here's where dopamine comes in. Most people think dopamine is the feel-good chemical, like you get dopamine after something feels good. That's actually wrong. Dopamine doesn't show up when you're satisfied. It shows up before. Dopamine is the anticipation chemical. It's the maybe signal. It's your brain saying, hey, this could be something. Don't stop yet. Check one more time. Maybe this next video will be better. Maybe this notification actually matters. Maybe this scroll will finally hit different. And that maybe is powerful, because your brain is wired to chase possibilities, not outcomes. That's why slot machines work. That's why people keep refreshing their feed. That's why you keep watching even when the video isn't that good. You're not enjoying what you're seeing. You're chasing what might come next. Dopamine doesn't reward satisfaction. It rewards seeking. The moment you actually feel satisfied, dopamine drops. And when dopamine drops, your brain feels uncomfortable. So what does it do? It looks for another maybe, another scroll, another click, another refresh. This is why scrolling feels endless. Not because the content is amazing, but because your brain keeps thinking, don't stop yet. The next one could be better. And here's the wild part. Every app you use is built around this exact loop. Notifications are random on purpose. Feeds never end on purpose. Content quality goes up and down on purpose. Because unpredictability keeps dopamine high. If every post was amazing, you'd stop scrolling. If every post was boring, you'd leave. But that mix of meh and maybe, that keeps you hooked. So no, this isn't about you having no self-control. And it's not some evil conspiracy either. It's a business model. Attention equals money. And dopamine is how attention gets captured. Once you understand that, a lot of things start making sense. You're not addicted to your phone. You're addicted to the possibility of something better being one swipe away. And your brain? It falls for that every time. Here's how you know your brain is running the show. You struggle to focus for more than a few minutes. You feel uneasy when your phone isn't nearby. You're tired even when you haven't done much. You constantly compare your life to other people's highlights. And after hours of scrolling, you don't feel relaxed. You feel drained. That's the dopamine crash. Your brain went up. Then it dropped. And when it drops, your brain panics. So it looks for another hit. This is where people get confused. They think, if this makes me feel bad, why do I keep doing it? Because your brain doesn't remember outcomes. It remembers patterns. At some point, scrolling reduced discomfort. So now, whenever discomfort appears, your brain reaches for it automatically. No thinking required. This is where shame enters the picture. After you waste time, you feel guilty. I messed up again. I'm so behind. Everyone else is doing better than me. That emotional pain activates the same system, so your brain looks for relief. And guess what's always available? The same habit. So shame doesn't fix the problem. Shame feeds it. That's why beating yourself up never works. Here's the part nobody really likes to hear. Your willpower isn't broken. Nothing is wrong with you. Your willpower is just tired. Think of it like a battery. Every single decision you make during the day takes a small piece of energy. Not just big decisions. Small ones too. What to reply to. What to ignore. What to resist. What to focus on. What not to think about. Your brain is making choices all day long, even when you're not aware of it. And each choice costs energy. So when people say, "Why can't you just stay disciplined?" they're ignoring one simple fact. Discipline runs on fuel, and fuel is limited. By the time the day is almost over, your brain is drained. Not lazy, not weak, drained. So when night hits, your brain doesn't want growth. It wants relief. It basically says, "I've been holding it together all day. I've been resisting stuff nonstop. I'm done. Give me comfort." And comfort shows up fast. Scrolling, snacks, Netflix, anything familiar and easy. At that point, discipline doesn't stand a chance. Because discipline requires energy. And when energy is gone, comfort wins every time. That's why mornings feel hopeful. In the morning, your mental battery is full. You feel motivated, optimistic, like today will be different. And then life happens. By night, the battery is empty. So nights feel chaotic. You don't suddenly become a different person. You didn't lose motivation randomly. Your brain just ran out of fuel. That's it. And once you understand this, you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" And you start asking, "How can I protect my energy better?" That question changes everything. Now let's talk about control. Not fake control. Not motivational quotes. Not wake up at 5 a.m. and dominate life control. Real control. The kind that actually works when motivation disappears. Because here's the truth. Most people miss. Real control does not come from fighting your brain. The moment you're fighting your brain, you're already losing. Control comes from working with it. Why? Because your brain always follows the path of least resistance. Always. It doesn't choose what's best for your future. It chooses what's easiest right now. Lowest effort, lowest friction. Fastest relief. That's not a bad habit. That's how the brain is designed. So instead of asking yourself, "Why can't I stop?" ask a better question. What is the easiest option right now? Because whatever is easiest is what your brain will choose. If scrolling is easiest, you'll scroll. If checking notifications is one tap away, you'll check them. If Netflix starts automatically, you'll keep watching. But if working becomes easier than avoiding it, you'll work. This is where most people get it wrong. They try to become stronger. Smarter people redesign the environment. You don't argue with your brain. You out-design it. You make the bad options slightly harder and the good options slightly easier. That's it. You're not testing discipline. You're removing friction. And when friction disappears, behavior changes automatically. That's real control. Not forcing yourself to say no 100 times a day, but setting things up so you don't have to say no at all. Once you understand this, you stop feeling like you're broken. You realize you were just playing the wrong game. And when you play the right game, control stops feeling impossible. It starts feeling natural. Next, you stop thinking in big goals. Your brain doesn't respond to change your life. It responds to progress. Tiny progress. One small task, 5 minutes, one win. That's enough dopamine to rewire the loop. Not instantly, but steadily. Then you replace cheap stimulation. You don't remove dopamine. You redirect it. Movement, walking, music, Cold water, light exercise. These give dopamine without hijacking your attention. One more thing. Delay rewards. Do the uncomfortable thing first, then reward yourself. Your brain learns. Effort comes before pleasure. This reverses the addiction loop. Slowly, but permanently. Here's what happens when you finally understand this. You stop calling yourself lazy. You stop thinking you're broken. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's highlight reel. You start designing your life instead of reacting to it. That's the real shift, not motivation. Awareness. Here's the bigger truth. Most people aren't failing because they're lazy. They're not failing because they're dumb. And they're definitely not failing because they don't want it bad enough. They're failing because they're trying to live modern life using a brain that evolved for a completely different world. Your biology didn't change. The environment did. Your brain was built for clear goals, physical effort, slow rewards, and lots of downtime. But the system you live in now, it's built around constant stimulation, instant gratification, endless choice, and non-stop pressure. Every app, every platform, every notification is competing for your attention. Not accidentally. On purpose. Because attention is valuable. So when you're constantly distracted, overwhelmed, or stuck in avoidance, you're not losing a personal battle. You're in a system that profits from keeping your brain reactive. And here's the shift that changes everything. Once you see this, you stop blaming yourself. You stop trying to power through with motivation. Because motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Biology always wins. So instead of forcing yourself to be strong all the time, you start building structure. You design your environment so your brain doesn't have to fight all day. You reduce decisions. You remove temptations. You create routines that run on autopilot. That's why structure beats motivation every time. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Structure says, this is just how my day works. One depends on mood. The other depends on design. And once your life is designed to support you instead of drain you, progress stops feeling like a fight. It starts feeling natural. Not easy, but manageable. And that's how people who look disciplined actually win. Not by pushing harder, but by making the right choice, the easy choice. So remember this. You're not lazy. Lazy people don't feel frustrated about wasting time. Lazy people don't care. If you care, even a little, that already tells you something. You're not weak. Weak people don't keep trying to understand what's holding them back. They don't question patterns. They don't look for answers. You're doing that right now. You're struggling because your brain adapted to a world it was never designed for. A world of instant rewards, instant entertainment, instant comfort, instant distraction. Your brain did what it always does. It learned the fastest way to reduce stress and discomfort. That's not a character flaw. That's biology. So no, this isn't your fault. Nobody sat you down and warned you how addictive this environment would be. Nobody taught you how dopamine actually works. Nobody explained how your attention would become a product. But here's the part that matters. Once you understand what's happening, once you see the pattern clearly, responsibility begins. Not responsibility in a shame way. Not beat yourself up responsibility. But awareness. Now you know you're not broken. You're just reacting. And when you understand the reaction, you can start changing the setup. You stop fighting yourself. You stop calling yourself names. You stop waiting for motivation to magically appear. Instead, you design your life in a way that works with your brain instead of against it. That's the real shift. Your brain is addicted, not you. And once that clicks, once it really sinks in, you stop being dragged around by impulses. You stop living on autopilot. You stop feeling like life is just happening to you. You take the driver's seat back, not perfectly, not overnight, but consciously. And that changes everything.